One Piece is no longer a weekly anime, and that sounds like a good thing. It isn't that simple, because this change doesn't just fix pacing, it changes how the entire story is experienced. And not all those changes are positive. For years, the anime adaptation of One Piece followed a continuous weekly format, but now it's shifting to a seasonal structure, starting with the upcoming Elbaf arc. And that changes more than the schedule. The weekly model was never designed for pacing, it was designed for consistency. The anime has to stay behind the manga, which means it can't move too fast. So instead of following the story naturally, it slows itself down. Not because it should, but because it has to. That creates a visible side effect: slower scenes, repeated reaction, minimal progression. Not as creative choice, but as a constraint. And over time, that affects how the story feels. A seasonal format changes the priority. Instead of filling time every week, the focus shifts to pacing the story correctly. Episodes move faster, scenes don't need stretching, and the story can finally flow the way it was intended. There's also another effect: more consistent production means higher overall quality, and that opens the door to something the weekly format struggled with: industry recognition. Awards, nomination, critical attention, you name it. Not because the story has changed, but because the presentation finally matches it. But this isn't a perfect solution. Seasonal anime means longer waiting time, less constant presence, and the potentially less weekly engagement. So the trade-off becomes clear: consistency versus quality. And this shift isn't just about One Piece. It reflects a broader change in the industry. Long-running weekly anime are becoming harder to sustain, and seasonal formats are replacing them. One Piece adapting to that shows how necessary that shift has become. The weekly format made One Piece iconic, but it also created limitations. Moving to a seasonal isn't just an upgrade, it's a correction, and it might be the only way the final saga can be adapted properly.